I think the way AI is going to change the landscape within the organization would be huge. I see in next 5 to 10 years, huge change in the way the HR is going to kind of operate, think about it and how they do the strategy. I think the first and foremost would be how HR would be start using more enhanced data-driven decisions to be more strategic partner with the businesses, using AI models to take any decisions what you have with the large set of AI what will produce it. So I think one would be relying more on data to take any employment or organizational decisions. The second would be how do you make sure that the AI and the humans interact in a synergy, right? How do you make sure that employees don't feel threatened with the AI coming into the jobs? In fact, how do they enhance their performance instead of being afraid of AI, right? So that's an immediate need. We need to make sure that the HR gets in front, make sure the employees are aware of what AI is, and this goes across all the domains, right? And how do you tell your teams that you start using AI, right? Because that's the future. So that synergy, building in the synergy with the AI is very critical. And I think the most important I would say is how to make sure that while AI is coming into your workplace, how do you make sure that there are no biases or there are no compliance issues coming in, right? And that goes with my role. How do you make sure the AI, because we know the AI has some inherent biases, how do you make sure that the programs and the technology which you are building in or getting into in your organization it doesn't have those biases? How do you keep AI bias free, right? I think in the last point, and I think I would say the most crucial is how do you make sure that while AI comes into the workplace, but the human part of the human resources remain there, right? While the AI would come and start disturbing the whole workplace, but the humans are not going away, right? So the human to human interaction, to the human connect, I think would remain, and how as an HR leaders would make sure that those connections remain. How do you make sure that the HR is right up front while this technology revolution is happening, and that human connect doesn't go away while there would be AI to answer questions for the employees, which currently is being done by the humans, but that should not take away the human interaction out of it, right? While these tools should help the HR in performing their day-to-day tasks, but it cannot replace the human from the whole process. So keeping that in, I think these are few things I feel in next few years how the HR leadership should change and will change with the AI coming into the workplace. So I think leading to the crisis, I think this is very dear to me because in my role, almost every day there's a crisis, right? I handle employee relations and compliances. Every day you feel like, oh, there's a big crisis going on. And what I learned, I have a background of, I'm a veteran from Army, right? So the foremost, I think the point which you have to look into any crisis situation is how you as a leader remain calm, right? How do you make sure that you remain calm, you handle the situation in calm manner, and you make sure that your teams and people, the stakeholders involved, remain calm, right? And if you get you get stressed out, that stress will follow to the team, right? How do you make sure that you absorb whatever the stress situation you are in and don't pass it on to your teams, right? I think that's one crucial part of the whole any crisis situation which I've handled till now. The second is how do you make sure, what we've seen is the success of any crisis situation remains with the teams, right? How two teams interact with each other, what is there, how do they interact on a day-to-day basis, how are they coming up together. I think the team spirit is very, very crucial in any crisis situation. The third, I think which goes without saying is that the empathy which you want to bring in any crisis situation, right? There cannot be the HR in a crisis situation without empathy, right? How do you make sure that the empathy remains in any situation we're dealing with, right? I think so. These are, I think, few things which I have seen in any situation. While you remain calm, your teams work together, and you keep the empathy as part of the whole thing while you handle any crisis situation. I think these are a few things which I felt any crisis situation has taught me to deal with it.